Um, Demande Spéciale, the origin of it is me and Guillaume Lavallée were both designers, and we met in Montreal in a small studio where it was like we were three, including like our boss, and it was really brand focused. That's where we met, and then it's kind of, I don't know if it's the right order, but I'm gonna bring you into our world and what we've done. And I think what encapsulates our practice is we are a design studio. We're obviously based in Montreal, but we specialize in brand, but it's kind of evolved around branding because branding is kind of our core, but we did since like video clips, we did like campaigns and a lot of stuff. So it allowed us, it was like an open door into other fields, like.
Nice.
And in our process, I think art and design always kind of converge and merge. So it's kind of, I hope you will have a feel of it today. That's kind of where we are at the moment. But it started in 2017 when me and Guillaume decided to kind of start this adventure together. This was our first office. It's 4812. It was like a small, it's the size of a conference room. It was so small, but we're like so happy to have a space. Guillaume was living at the back. It was kind of an apartment slash business space. And that kind of gave us the first space where we could say like, oh, we are Demande Spéciale and we are doing something. Because the first year, maybe a little more, we were doing this like on weeknights and weekends. So this space was very important to us. And as the years go by, we kind of found the 4812, so the name civil civic number. And it's like way bigger. So it's the same thing. It's like a storefront. It's in Montreal, but it's kind of like the grown-up version of what we're at the very beginning. So it has like a sentimental value to like the address. And yeah, it started in 2017. We were working together for a while now. And since it was a very small team, we were really working like together. We were exchanging files. And that's where we kind of realized that we were really working well together. And at some point, I had a client that came up to me, and Guillaume had already the name Demande Spéciale and wanted to do something with it. So we kind of merged it together. And our first client was Blue Pearl and Bleu Royal. So it was the first time, because it didn't feel right to say like Maude and Guillaume are doing design. But Demande Spéciale sounds a lot better. So that was our first client, our first project. And it was really cool because it was a branding project, but also a packaging project. And it ended up being like sold in SAQ, it's like the liquor store here. So to be able to like go out and buy something you design was really big for us, because when we started like in 2017, I was just going out of school. I was just graduating. So to be able to have like this opportunity was really, really nice. And the idea of this product was, it was a blue gin that changed its color when you add like tonic or lemon in it, but it was blue, so very like a Quebec product, and they wanted the blue to be like all over the packaging. And yeah, it's kind of a special project, and it was our first one.
So it changed color from blue to something else when you put the tonic in?
Yeah, to like, it becomes like a fuchsia or purple when you add like tonic in it. So it's a nice product when you like doing cocktail or it gives a little, it gives a little show.
What you might, sorry, I'm just curious about this. What reacts, what makes it change color?
It's because they dyed the gin with flour. And I think it's the pH in the flour versus like lemon or tonic. It reacts and change the color.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Then we had our first client. Like it was our first year. We were doing it like at night, and the first year we did map is a projection mapping festival. I don't know if you know what projection mapping is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, great. So it was a little festival in Montreal, and we've been doing work for them for like 6 years now, so it's an ongoing client. But it's nice to see the evolution also. They have a thematic each year. So that was our first year. So also our first like wild posting. So it was also fun for us. The theme was parallel reality. So we played with like 2Ds and we had 3D also. And also the date kind of fit well. It was 18 to 20 on 2018. So it's kind of created like parallel thing there also.
Maude, can I just ask a question? You said wild posting. Is that basically essentially what would be called illegal posting, essentially?
Oh, no, I think because the name of the company is Publicité Sauvage, which means wild posting, but it's legal. It's like it's their company that just handle the
just our home.
Yeah, no, but I thought it was really interesting because the equivalent in the UK would be like fly posting. So when you go and sort of put posters up, and I was like, God, it sounds so horrible compared to like wild posting. Like wild posting, that's like a really beautiful way of doing it. Yeah.
No, I think it's wild just because it's on the street or often on like palisade for construction stuff. But yeah, no, it's legal. The second year was the first year we had the opportunity to introduce color also with them because they were really black and white as a brand. And since not a lot of people know what projection mapping is, we kind of tried to do a schematic version of what the experience of mapping is. So we had like the eye, we had the triangle representing the projection and the wall. And I think a thing that me and Guillaume like connected on and is a part of what Demande Spéciale is, it's like a little the fun of like creating and also like to be able to like have an idea and run with it. We didn't plan this shoot, we didn't plan to do this with the poster, but it kind of just happened, and the beauty and the freeness of this is kind of part of our process, I think, throughout all of our projects. Also, this one was the third year we worked with them. It was during the pandemic. So we thought a lot of color would like bring life to people because everyone was at home all the time. And one thing that was tricky, it was we designed the poster with like all gradient colors, but one of the logo had to stay white, and we like didn't want all the logo to be white. So we had to find a way to solution this issue. And I think that's also something that I like a lot, when we can just take a problem and find a way to solve it. And sometimes it kind of enhances the concept. So what we figured out is that the logo needed to be printed in white, but could have moments of color like in animation. So that was kind of a way to work around that. And the theme was the unknown. So this kind of like vapory, flowy, and the poster ended up looking like this. So the logo was white. But yeah, but it kind of added to the concept. Instead of just being like bold, colorful poster, it added this kind of mystery to it, which kind of makes sense with the theme. So at first we were really annoyed that the logo had to be white, and in the end, it's just
It's a really clever solution because I'm guessing it's the Fonds logo that has to be white.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Then another edition was Facing Nothingness. That was the theme. And we every time we want to explore something different with this client. It was a client that at first didn't have budget. Over the years, it was a project that we got paid for, but at first, no. So we had a big creative liberty with them. And the idea of Facing Nothingness was the idea that nothingness is not empty, but it's kind of a place of opportunity and creation. So we worked with a 3D artist to have like random shapes just appear and be generated from this nothingness. So that was the whole concept. And for this one, we had the opportunity to print with silver Pantone. So that was also very fun. Be able to print, but to print it in silver was special for us. And the last edition we did, because we are working on the 8th at the moment, was multiple dimension. And this idea of taking this typographic simple layout that will act as a canvas, because as the building are acting as a canvas for the projection mapping, we thought the poster in itself could be a canvas and represent a different way of having dimension. So we could put like pictures in it and animation, and put also like they have a lot of artists that comes and give visual project on the building. So we could just plug it in the animation. It kind of gave it another feel. And that brings me to the brand part. Because we are a branding studio at core. So I wanted to like give you like 3 brands I could maybe give you a little more insight on. This one was our first pitch that we won. Frank & Oak is a fashion brand in Canada. And they approached us to create their emblem, so their icon. And their whole identity was like based around a typeface. It was really simple. So the ask wasn't to like redo everything, but we still like just change the weight and the kerning a bit to just give them a little refresh. But the interesting part, again, is how we made the emblem. So of course we did like a ton of exploration to get there. But the fun part, at least for me, is that initially the logo, we designed it the other way around, like reversed. So when we designed it, it wasn't like, because now it does like a FO, so it gives like a monogram feel. But at first we designed it the other way around. So it was more like the human part and the nature, and this idea of like the Canada modern aesthetic, which is very geometric. But then a person in the Frank & Oak team at the time just flipped it around. And it was like the spark of, oh my God, it does the monogram also. So this whole idea of, again, accident, and that accident can also add meaning to project, I think.
Can I ask one question, actually, which is a very timely thing? So you were saying you pitched for this, so it was a pitch against other design studios, I take it?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but for the go ahead.
Oh no, I said, so my question was going to be, how far did you, well, what did you essentially present in the pitch? Did you show them this sort of?
No.
No.
No. No, that was then after the pitch was only It was like mock-ups and just like to give them like a vibe, but it wasn't like actual design proposition. It was just like, we could explore this, and we had like a stack of boxes where we put like the Franken-Oak, and just to give them a feel, but it wasn't like a real design proposition that they could like take and work with.
So what do you think made them pick you?
That's a great question.
Do
don't know.
Do you know who you were up against as well?
No, I don't know against who we were up, and I don't know why they chose us, but I'm very happy they did.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. Maybe Guillaume knows. I don't know. If we knew, I really don't remember. But
Fair enough. Good. Sorry, get back to your flow.
Oh, no, it's okay. You can ask question anytime. And so we worked on all the labels. We did boxes, but they didn't end up using them, but we like them, so I put it in the press. And we did a lot of layouts also. That made me think. At the beginning, I talked about Guillaume, with whom I started the Demande Spéciale. But along the way, there was also another designer, David Song, that worked with us a lot. He did like his first internship in 2019, like a 3 months thing. And 2 years after that, he came back and stayed with us for like 2 years. And he worked with us on those applications. So I wanted to mention him also.
Amazing.
Another brand we worked on, Afterglow. Afterglow was it's a online shop where you can buy sex toys, and the online market for sex toys is very like sexual and bold colors and very in your face. And they wanted to create like a safe space so that everyone could explore their sexuality. So we worked with them to create them an identity that was more soft, more like more about like the feeling, and more subtle in the way it was designed. It's less in your face. It can be bold because like they have colors and they can do like bolder communication, but the essence of it was to give a safer space for people who want to explore and are not like as comfortable to go into a sex shop to find products. And the way we created the signature is that we went with a simple typeface because we wanted something timeless with like rounded corners that Guillaume worked on. And the whole idea was to create a symbol that came from the inner shapes of the logo. So again, this idea of intimacy and the hidden part of the letters, because it's a part we don't see right now, but when you take it out of it, it becomes like a symbol. And from there, we could also create like icons to identify the product and the preference and stuff like that. Yeah, we worked on their packaging also. They didn't use like big bucks like that, but it was fun too.
Very good package. Yeah.
It's a very, very long dildo.
Yeah.
And with them also, they did a old photo shoot. So to create again this idea of intimacy and layering, we played with the images to create like this kind of soft feeling, but again, this idea of sensuality and sexuality. And yeah. And another brand. I started with the first pitch we won. That's the latest pitch we won. So kind of close the section. It's it's named Le Pape. Le Pape, it's a theater in Montreal. They are like 45 years old, and it's not a theater that have like a physical place. It's a theater that plays in other theaters, so they're always in movement and go around Quebec and different places. So this whole idea of movement was really important for them. Also, what they really care about is their process, a lot more than the end result and the end play that ends up like in the other theaters. So this whole idea of the process like drove us to create this identity that is really, really simple. It's a clean typeface, and it's all based around the grid, and all the grid can move and evolve. And one thing that was very a big value to them was this idea of movement and audacity. So the simple fact of just like putting the le a little bit in front gave them like this feel of moving forward. Then this was the system, how we created it. So this idea of circularity, circle, movement, and flow in their process was what brought us to create this system. And then from the like pattern it created, we created the old grid around it. And again, in their process, there are like 3 phases. It's kind of research, creation, and diffusion. Diffusion is like when the play is shown in other theater. So this idea of like, as the project moves forward, it becomes more defined. You have more visual that you can attach to it. It becomes bolder and more like precise. So the research part is more small and undefined, and you don't have like very visual to go with it. And then as it goes on, it can evolve. So like research, it's more bare, it's more typographic and more like colors. And as it evolves, it can bring more life and play with this idea of a circularity and circle. Also very flexible identity that can enhance content. Like we play with the signature to like add movement to things that happen in the image they have. And other example of how we can play with this identity.
I'm really curious to know, I don't know why on this one in particular, but I'm really curious to know what their original identity looked like and how kind of how you push this. So for example, on the slide you had previously, the one where you said this, for example, it feels like quite bold and brave to almost like detach, you know, the letters of the actual like brand's name in the way that you've done it. And I'm wondering if that was something you had to really push them towards, or whether their original identity was they've always had this sense of like, I suppose, boldness in how they behave in a way, which would make sense if they're a theatre company, but I'm still quite curious about how far you evolved them.
Yeah, they were bold, but in another aesthetic. The old logo was like and written like it's kind of Le Pape and just like
Weird. That's where I thought it might have been really. I don't know why, but yeah.
Yeah, and they were bold in their communication, but it was very like grunge and very rough.
Yeah.
And they were really, really open to go in another direction. So really simple and slick in terms of type and like system, but it gives them also this flexibility of being able to adapt their identity to their visuals and make it evolve. So they were very excited by that, and I'm super happy they went this way.
Just saw it on the phone.
Yeah, what you've done is really beautiful.
Yeah. It's interesting. It feels what's the right way of saying it?
Natural.
Yeah, also like it feels like it exists very comfortably in that kind of modern world of arts in a way. Like that previous identity doesn't feel like a sort of modern expression of the arts in a way, whereas this feels very much sort of like at home in that world, but in a very distinctive, way. Really interesting. Great.
And I put just a little more example of what we could do with the identity. And also not because the identity is like made from circle that the circle needs to be visible all the time. So we can also just play with pictures, with repetition. So I think and that's how I really like to develop identity with clients, is to give them a strong base that can evolve in time. And I think it's a system that can really be flexible and can be like played with a lot in different ways. And it works also with only text when you have like only text. And that brings me to another section. I don't know how I'm doing on time, but I have another one after that. I'm like half done on the presentation.
No, yes, going well.
It's the collab, because a lot of work we've done is like exchange of services with other people. So that's William Arcan, which is he's a fashion photographer. He was based in Montreal, but now he's in London, if you ever need like his services. But he's really nice. And at first, when we were only starting, I think we met him like on set while working at other agency. And we did like his first book, which was a newspaper, and he did our first shoot. So we could say we were more professional. We had like official photos we could like use, and it was really fun to do a print, because like the first packaging we didn't have like a lot of work to show, since we were like a young studio. So to be able to work on this project, and also I mentioned David Song earlier, he got to work on this one when he was an intern at Demande Spéciale.
Amazing.
And yeah, it was to give William like a piece of, like a snapshot of his work so far. Oh, whoa. So we had sound. But yeah, I put that, I didn't know it at a sound, but the idea was to show that we again have this like freeness to how we work. So Guillaume just had his skate with him, and he just like filmed the pile of journal, and then we just like played with it in a dépanneur to do like pictures. And this whole idea of like playing with project and stuff is very a big part of, I think, how we work and how we can achieve them, like push project a little further. I think we just went to like I don't know what is dépanneur, a drugstore.
Yeah.
Just take picture of what we've done. And then I put that project because we just did the newest version of William's work. So now he's more established, years gone by, he had a lot more work, and we wanted to give him like a really thick object. So it's like a thick book. And as you saw, there were a lot of red already in his work and in the journal. So we just went all in with the red. Yeah, and give him like this big thick book with all of his work in it. And David got to work on this one, so it was like a full circle again. We hear me talking about. But but it was the first time we saw we just received the print of the book.
Yeah, really nice.
Oh no.
That's cool.
How was this book used?
Okay, I think there's no more sound. Hopefully.
How was that book used? Was it just his like portfolio that he'd give out, essentially?
Yeah, it's just it's kind of a like a business cards for him, so he could send it to like agency he wanted to work with. And since he was moving to London, it was nice for him to have like this piece he could bring with him and show, and it make having his work in the book just made it feel like more established and professional and like
really nice.
important. Yeah, it was really fun. Another collab we did, I don't know if you know Yukon Acrobatics, they do like backpacks and totes, and they do this thing called motif, where they ask like 20 artists from 20 countries to do a pattern that they then print on their bags. And since we all love dogs very much, we decided to do like this print with dogs and colors. It was very fun to work on that. And I didn't show like the office earlier, but that's a photo of what we did on the glasses in front of the office, because we hosted a little event to like launch the bags and the project. It was really fun, because also we are beside I don't know what is in English, animalerie. It's a pet store.
Yeah.
So a couple of people took the wrong door, because we had like a lot of dogs on the on the glasses.
I take it if you go back one more, I take it the map office isn't next door to that, because you look at that previous picture.
Yeah. And it's not. I don't know why it's written map there, and we never knew. It's like it's apartments. You go up that way, and it's just apartments. So it's kind of a.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. And another collab we just did with Pangram, which is a foundry in Montreal.
Yeah.
And they asked us to do like visual for one of their types. So that's also an opportunity for us to like explore things we didn't do like with client work. So we went all in with like 3D for this.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. It's a 3D artist, the same we worked with for MAP earlier. His name is Aucune Publicité, which means no publicity. And yeah, it was very, very fun to. And get to like have fun and explore. I thought, what if an air tank blown up instead of like blowing stuff up? So having fun with the ideas and concepts.
Yeah.
And it's the final section, guys.
Right.
Side project. I wanted to put a side project section because Demande Spéciale started as a side project. And when Demande Spéciale became the main project, we had to have other side projects. So, and it kind of came about naturally. It's not a thing that we were forcing or anything. It's just like we often just have ideas and are like, oh my God, we're gonna do this. And during the pandemic, Guillaume had the idea of like, because we were using background on the Zoom.
Yeah.
And we thought, what if you could have a place where you could work from any studio you want? So studio could send us like a pic of their office and people could download it and just do Zoom meeting from anywhere.
Yeah. I remember something like this. Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it was fun. So we had like a lot of studio, mainly in Montreal, but a couple around the world, and it was fun to. I don't know if it's still up, but it's been a while since we touched it. But it was fun to just have an idea and make something out of it.
Yeah, great.
And then posters, of course. It's just a section where I've put like visual we've done over the years, like for our anniversary. So that was the first one. It's called C'est bon signe. It's a good sign, because the joke was, yes, we didn't like file for bankruptcy yet. So, so that was like the concept, and we took, because in French, sign also sound like swan. So we took like this inflatable swan and called it C'est bon signe, and just did a lot of visuals. Also, it was the first tote we made, and tote bags have been like following us since then. We've just done so much tote. So another example of like just having an idea. So that's our friend Guillaume, and my ex-partner Guillaume asked him to, like, everybody in my life is called Guillaume.
Yeah.
And, like, it's crazy. And we just asked him to like lay down, put that there, and it became like the visual for our second year, which we call Fragile and Dull with Care, because again, we didn't file for bankruptcy. We were like, yes, we have made it a second year. And the tote bag.
Nice.
We then, for the third year, made a rock, like a big rock. And the idea of this one was kind of like, I don't know, we wanted to do something physical, and also like the idea of like 3 years went by so fast. So it kind of like made us realize that we're kind of running out of time. So it kind of was the old concept of this year. And the fourth one, we didn't do nothing because it was the year like Guillaume left. But we came back for the 5th anniversary. And since it always was like, oh yeah, we finally made it, the joke was, oh my God, we're so big now. So, so the old concept of the 5-year anniversary was like, we are huge. And at the time it was only me and David, but we were like, we're huge, we're a global studio. And we made like this big bracelet that is like 4 feet wide. It's like very huge. Yeah, it's huge. Everything was huge. We made like a huge tote bag also. And yeah, it was just the idea that like our 5 years, and 5 years, it's a big milestone also. So we wanted like to celebrate it and make something tangible out of it. And again,
where does the big charm bracelet exist?
Yeah, I see it. It's in front of me now. It's on the wall.
Yeah, great.
That's on the wall, yeah. And the idea for me, it's like that. Now I can add charms to it, and it's gonna be like more full as the year go by. So
that's nice.
How did you make it?
It's just a chain. Then it's wood that we cut, stacked, and glued. So it would look like silver. I would have liked to have it all in metal, but it's very money, so wood works well.
Really, really cool.
And all the charms meant something, like the dice, because luck, I think, was a big part, and like not chance, but what is hasard when you mean like something is random? It's
like serendipity, like
yeah. And tote bags, because we've done them since the beginning, and the truck, because we used it at the end of each of our presentation, like a big truck branded Demande Spéciale, which one day we will maybe have. I don't know. Dream big. And I also wanted to do rings, so like big fat, like style of championship rings. So I was like, yeah, we're 5 years now, we're gonna have like rings.
Are you wearing it?
I have it. It's far now, but yeah, I have it with me. It's in the conference room.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And for the last part, is just like, since we did a lot of merch and tote and stuff, we eventually launched like odds, our like store, and it only mean like Office of Demande Spéciale, but odds, it's kind of a nice word too. So it's just like pics of stuff we've done like over the years.
Oh, that's really nice idea. I was actually it's funny, that's actually one of the questions I was going to ask when you finished, is the typeface you've used for the odds thing.
Yeah.
So you obviously use, I don't know whether it's the same thing or something similar, for like the breaker slides when you talked about special collabs or brands. And like my observation on it is like, do you use that? Is that like a part of your like house typography that you would use in presentations? And I suppose my question is, it feels like actually very out of context for the style of your work that you kind of shown us. So I'm just curious as to where that sort of came from.
The typeface is from Radin Pesco, and it's not a part of like the studio brand, but odds is kind of a side thing. So it's a place where we can like do more crazy stuff or explore with different typeface. And the font, like this one, I don't know, I love it a lot, and it's part of like something really bold, but
really interesting.
So, and I put it in this presentation because it felt like that's what I wanted to do. But yeah, and I for odds in general, and I think my practice, I try to not put like too much boundaries and rules. So it's kind of a place where everything can happen and we can make everything out of it. So this kind of like, maybe now it's this odds, but in 2 years, maybe it's going to be different, or maybe next week, I don't know. So
I like it.
We did a collab also with mouthwash from LA. Just a lot of merch. And while doing this presentation, I just realized how much stuff is not in it. Like there's a lot of stuff there, but there's so much that you didn't see. It's crazy. But again, we're gonna have like 6 years in October, so I guess 6 years of doing stuff makes a lot of stuff.
What are you? Do you know what the kind of like idea is going to be to celebrate your 6th year?
Yeah, I have the idea, but I don't know if I want to spoil it yet.
No, that's fine. Yeah. We'll have to look out for it.
Yeah, but yeah, I have the concept, and yeah. I just need to work on it.
Cool. The mouse map's so cool.
It's kind of a Aesop aesthetic.
How important is it for your like
work that you do all this kind of extracurricular stuff? Because it feels like there's loads of stuff that you do that's like more about expressing than it being like a defined project. I think it's just, yeah, just curious to know like how much time you put into a lot of these things because they're so interesting.
That's a great question, because I always feel like I don't have enough time to do everything I will want to do, but I think it's a struggle everybody is experiencing. I think it's part of how we do things. Sometimes when we have an idea, we kind of have this energy of just doing it and going with it and just like getting crazy in this moment. But then, yeah, so I don't plan time to do like side stuff like this. It's just like moments happen and we make time. Like a thing I say is I never have time, but I always have time. Like there's always a way to have time, but I'm busy. I don't have time, but I have time.
Beautiful way of putting it.
So that's it for my 100-slide presentation.
So cool. Well, yeah, thank you for taking us through that. It was really
great
work.
Really great. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really nice for us to see. Thank you for that.
Yeah, and thank you for inviting me and doing this. Is very interesting. Like we get to discover a lot of artists and designers, so it's really nice.
Thank you.
Thank
yeah,
you.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.